I don't know.
Too late now.
Okay, welcome everyone. First thing, approval of the minutes from January 31st. Are we good on that? Good, okay, minutes are approved. The next meeting, I am gonna be out of town from March 1st until March 13th. So if we want to wait, and usually I like to do it and get a date while everybody is present and looking at their calendars, but since Parker's not here and I'm not going to be back, I'm going to be out of town, maybe the best thing would be to, and the other practice, which is also good, is when Jessica sends out dates and everybody can reply. So does that sound good to everyone? And I don't know that you need to wait for me. I think you can accomplish things without me, or you can wait until I'm back, whatever. Any thoughts on that? Oh my God, Fran, we got to have you now. Okay.
As it is in person, I need to have like all the
Oh, we are in person.
Yes.
And that's a huge, like it's a huge consideration. I mean,
That's
I know
huge
for
now.
Yeah. I will send around a lot of different options to try and narrow it down once we get to that point.
Okay, so we'll look at dates, right? Okay, good. Now then we're just rocketing through this agenda. We're now on to reviewing the draft welcome letter, right?
Yes, so I have a copy for your consideration. Let me share my screen. So, Sujatha, I know you're on your phone, so I'm sorry if this is kind of tiny. I also didn't finish it until this morning, so I didn't have a chance to email it out. But the goal of this from your last committee meeting was to have a draft welcome email to new fan members that would clearly outline what you all are actually asking of them and give a draft of what they might be expected to see as talking points. So the first little bit is just like a little welcome, and I will read it because I can see you're on your phone just in case. So thank you for joining thank you for joining the Fairfax County Public Library's Friend and Advocate Network. We've been gathering up allies like yourself to help us spread the word in times of need on behalf of the library. We will never share your information broadly and will only request your assistance in times when a strong show of community support is necessary to support our local public libraries. By joining FAN, you are agreeing to, and then there's bullets.
I love the first paragraph. I love it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay. Bullet one.
And then strictly speaking, we're not supposed to capitalize library, which is why they've underlined it, unless we say Fairfax Library, but.
Nope, you got it.
Okay.
Lowercase. When I figured I could send this to you all and you could wordsmith it after if you want as well. Okay, bullet one, be part of our mailing list, which will only be activated at specific times, like when the county's budget is being approved or when positive vocal community voice is needed, such as when there are efforts to censor library programs or events. Bullet two, be willing to speak at public budget hearings, TBD, date and time yearly. FAN will draft common language that you can use and then add your own personal stories into to make even more compelling. That needs a little bit of work. And three, share with your network. The Library Board of Trustees wants to engage broadly with the community around subjects of collective interest, like ensuring that the library's book budget is large enough to support all of our voracious readers out there. Sometimes the library board may reach out to fan members with a message like the below and request that you share with your own friends, neighbors, colleagues, and other advocates. Thank you for agreeing to be part. Be a fan of the Fairfax County Public Library. And then below is the approved collection talking points. This last bullet, second bullet, last part needs some work. That did not sound good reading out loud, but that was what I recalled from your conversation at the last fan meeting. This is, I don't have any personal attachment to it. You can add, edit, and do whatever you want to if I missed anything.
Can we change the word collective to common on right there? Yep. I think sometimes makes people nervous.
Sure.
A bad buzzword, huh?
Yeah, I had used common up here with common language, and then I tried to use something else, but that makes more sense.
You could just leave common out there and just
draft language. Yeah,
you got it. So
we have two words.
Hi, Parker, and welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
I hate being late.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here.
We have two supports also in the first paragraph. Community support and to support, which I don't have a word right now.
In which section?
Oh, that sentence in the first paragraph. When a strong show of community support is necessary to support.
Ah, yep.
Or maybe speak up for.
You could change that second support to help.
Sure.
Or,
so when a strong show of community support is necessary to help our local public libraries.
I mean, maybe something else, but
speak up for would that be good to speak up for our public libraries?
Sure.
Well, and also
or speak up for
our library, right? Should it just be singular because we're talking about us?
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think I had made that plural in case it was a specific branch like event that was being targeted. So it might not be your excuse me, your specific library, but no, singular makes sense as well.
I think we've already kind of said this, but this is great. This is awesome. The one on the second bullet, we say be willing to speak at public budget hearings. We had talked about this being broader than that. Like maybe it would say be willing to speak to elected officials or at, I would have kept in the public budget, the budget hearing though. What I was getting at was
and or even.
Yeah, and or we're providing them with talking points. So if they see a supervisor at a local function, or if they're friends with one or whatever, we're going to provide them, we're going to arm them with these talking points so they can use in whatever forum that they feel is appropriate.
Right. That's good.
Okay. Be willing to speak at public budget hearings or other forums to your elected officials.
To your elected officials. Right.
Willing to speak at public budget hearings. Well, I mean, I feel like what Parker is saying, maybe tell me if I'm correct, it's like any opportunity that avails itself, we will make sure that you are ready to support the libraries. So it could be something like, be willing to speak at public budget hearings, informal gatherings, blah, 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 you know,
maybe what you could do is be willing to speak to your elected officials, whether, you know, at, what was that one you had at wherever. And then we willing to speak to your elected officials, either at,
not even at
telling them where. What we're telling them is that wherever you see an opportunity, and whoever you see an opportunity. Oh, can you hear me? You just went through to my Bluetooth.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Because I was freezing, so I turned on the heat. Sorry. That you know, wherever the opportunity, whenever you find an opportunity to speak to whomever might be able to support the cause, we have armed you, and you are welcome to speak.
Okay,
but so it's got to be synthesized a bit.
Yeah, so what I have in here now from all of that feedback is be willing to speak to your elected officials at public budget hearings, forums, and other gatherings wherever the opportunity arises.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Even when people running for election knock on your front door, I always say, what are you going to do for the library? And they look at you quite astounded. But it makes them think.
Do you want to include a budget bullet in here about engaging with potential elected officials?
That's probably too much.
Okay.
But, you know, if you're going to speak to the people that have agreed to help, you know, you might bring up some of these ideas. But I just know as we're entering into a campaign year for everything, you're going to get lots of knocks on your doors, and it's fun to see them look totally bamboozled when you say that.
Then Fan will draft language that you can use and add your own personal stories to. I don't think you need into to your own stories. Oh, in order to make
To make even more compelling. Oh, wait, let's see.
Something's missing though.
To which you can add your own personal stories.
Draft language that you can use and to which you can add your own personal stories.
I would leave the and. I mean, you can use to which you, but Jessica.
Oh, that you can use and make more compelling by adding your own personal story. Wouldn't that be it? Language that you can use and make even more compelling by adding your own personal stories. And or make, well, is that good? Fan will draft language that you can use.
So I just typed in what you just said, Fran.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, you all are welcome. This is just a draft. So beyond the edits that you make here today, I'll send this around and you can continue editing or formatting as needed. I just wanted to make sure that this caught most of the points that you all discussed at your last committee meeting, and then I hadn't just totally spaced out on something you wanted to incorporate.
So I wonder if we said Fan will send you facts and figures that you can use and then make more compelling by adding your own personal feelings and stories.
Well, I mean, if that's what you're going to do, then that would be accurate. But the one draft that you've made so far both has facts and figures, like the numbers of the budget, and specific language that they can use.
That's what I mean. We'll send you these facts and figures, and then you can add your own stories of your own uses. Crickets? I'm not hearing anybody. What do you think?
I like the idea that we are looking at this as sort of a baseline draft of what we're asking, and that this can be an ongoing dialogue between our community and us as their conduits to staff, and that we represent them to libraries so they can, if they have questions, if they want to know stuff, if they think that there's something that somebody has asked, that adding that to their information would make a more compelling argument that they can come and bring those things to us, so that this can be a growing document of how to best support the libraries and grow the network. Like that this doesn't have to end here. So like, some kind of language that suggests that, we can, if they have questions about, if they see that there's something that could make a compelling argument, but they don't have the data, maybe they can ask us, we can look into it, and we can share that with them, and to make the most compelling argument, that they would never be left high and dry, wanting and needing information and not being able to at least ask us for that. I don't know.
I was thinking instead of Fan will draft language, how about talking points? And that would include data and whatever other information.
Or we will send you, because we've already written them.
Well, okay.
Right?
Yeah, rather than we'll draft, we'll send you.
Yeah. We'll send.
So I changed it.
Yeah, talking points.
And we'll send talking points that you can use and make even more compelling by adding your own personal stories. And then to Sujapa's point, I made a sub bullet here. Do you need more data to make the best case for your library? Let us know, or work with library staff to get you the information you need.
Exactly what I was talking about. Thank you very much for translating that.
It's good.
All good.
Share with you.
It's okay for staff to provide information that we're going to use at the budget hearings?
Yeah, staff can't advocate, but we can provide you any public information that is already out there. And because we collect so much statistical information already, it's very likely something available, like particularly if we're talking about the budget, that's all through the county's budget portal. It's just, sending you an easier avenue to get to it.
Okay.
Yeah. The same way that I am able to draft this document for you all. I'm not advocating, my staff aren't advocating. I am just helping you do your job.
You're educating.
Yes.
Right.
But only in the direction that you all have requested. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If you all are happy with this, Fran, I'll send it around to the full committee.
And one more thing.
Can I make just one more suggestion? Which you don't need to start typing yet, but because I feel like, Jessica, you're being pulled in like 4 different directions at once, and you're really good at it. So,
She is.
but on that sentence, Fan will send talking points that you can use. Do we want to end that with a semicolon and then say, feel free to add your own personal stories to make it even more compelling?
I kind of like it the way it is.
I'm good with that. That's why I didn't want Jessica to start and change it, because I thought it might not fly.
Maybe a comma there, Fran.
I don't think you need a comma.
Okay.
But I'm not always good on commas. So then there is a the use of the word like. So in the first bullet, be part of our mailing list, which will only be activated at specific times.
Yeah, take out like.
Such as. And then in the third one too, the library board of trustees wants to engage broadly with the community around subject of common interest, like, once again, such as.
So if we go back up to the first bullet, now it says be part of our mailing list, which will only be activated at specific times, such as when the county's budget is being approved or when a positive vocal community voice is needed. It also says such as here. Do you want to replace that with something else so it's not twice in the same sentence?
Such as when
change it to or
when positive vocal is needed, or that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Or when there were efforts. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that's good.
Or when there might be efforts. You want to say are, let's not encourage it.
Or if there are, or
Modify.
Ugly issue of censorship arises. No, just kidding.
This is your friends and advocate network. You can be as
unpleasant efforts.
Yeah, I think it looks really great.
I do too.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yes.
Gotta take care of that Oxford comma. I saw it was missing over there. How the board feels about Oxford commas.
It's always possible. It's always possible I missed one because I'm on my little phone screen.
Yes, it has been added.
And I don't need one
after
after gatherings, right?
What'd you say?
You have then and other gatherings, comma. Do you need that?
Nope, that one seems like a go.
I don't know. Let's see. Be willing to speak to elected officials.
How about share with your networks with an S?
Whatever the opportunity arises.
In the third bullet point.
Which one? What'd you say, Suzanne?
I just added an S to networks in the third bullet point. Since we all have many networks.
Should it be shared with your own networks? Would that be more kind of personalizing it? Share with your own networks. I don't hear rousing. Okay.
Or you could say your own communities. I don't know.
I like networks. I like networks.
I like networks more than communities in the sense because that's what we're asking them to do, activate their networks, you know.
And speaking of that,
Oxford, I don't think own is necessary.
Okay.
So we need
missing an Oxford comma?
Like after colleagues at the.
Got it. I've just seen that as well.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I will save and send around to everyone for your use.
So then the question I have, so then if we see something that we want to make changes, is it cricket for us to make those changes and send everybody, or is that engaging in board business?
No, so you have already substantially approved this document in a public meeting, and this document, so public meetings are for like policy decisions, for things that you are taking action on. So if you're just making minor grammatical changes to an email that you're going to use for a committee, that's fine. Okay. You could even argue back and forth about the placement of your Oxford comma. It's really, if you're engaging in policy decisions, it needs to be in a public space. This is not a policy decision here.
Okay. Check that off.
To the same, on the same point, if in future we want to make particular changes to this letter, just to add something like an idea somebody had and it was relevant to our community, say like in Drainsville, I think we have a particular kind of community that may be very different from Mason community or something. Is that something that has to go to the board? And beyond that, if our network wants to make some kind of, they want to share this letter in their network, as we've asked them to do, share this information in their networks, and they want to share the letter in their network, but they add something to it. Can they do that?
That's up to you all. So this is just a base that you all can use as you need it. If you have members that want to add it, if you all decide that that's something you want to do, that's totally up to you.
That's how I feel about it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I do feel like our individual communities, the magisterial districts, are distinct in many ways, and we have particular, hot buttons or whatever in our specific districts, and within our districts, we have different communities that have different interests. Like in Drainsville district, it's very different on one end and the other end in many, many different ways, right? Certainly economically, culturally, etc. I would love to be able to make sure that we have this letter translated and available in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking community. There may be other languages we want to think about doing that so that we can grow our network, or at least we can ask our network to grow the network in that way too, because we really do. It would be extremely powerful if the people who require our library the most and perhaps speak various different languages, and the languages are supported by our libraries. And in fact, our library does a lot of stuff to make sure we are as welcoming as possible to as many communities as possible. So we want to be able to have, I think it would be nice if we acknowledge here and then even bring it to the full board that we would like this to be a base letter that is available to be, we can allow it to be translated, even if if the staff is not looking into translating, but people want to translate it themselves or whatever, that we don't have a problem with being nimble with it.
That's good.
Just to speak to the translation part. So while FCPL has a wide variety of staff that speak and write and read a wide variety of languages, the county does have a paid translation service. It is per item and per length of item. So if you all are interested in having this translated at some point, we can certainly check into it. But if you have need of speakers, either in your advocate network or otherwise, it might be quicker or cheaper to do it that way.
It's not a very long letter, so it doesn't feel like it's too burdensome to ask a friend to do for us. But I want to make sure that we're allowed to do that, and that doesn't go beyond our purview.
Personally, sure staff-wise, I don't see any issue with that.
I have somebody in my personal network, meaning my wife, who could easily translate this into Spanish. That's a great idea, Sujata.
Meaning my wife.
She's part of my network. She's part of our network. Okay.
And she can reach out to that Woodrow community that we met at the room naming at Woodrow.
Yeah. Hakan, Hispanics Against Child Abuse and Neglect.
Right.
Yes, I just noticed I was muted when I was saying yes. You're right, Dan. That's right.
Is it Hakan or Hakan?
Hakan.
Hakan, okay.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool as, again, another like fan and outreach collaboration if we really try to make our networks as robust as our community.
Okay. Next item is the other items. And I don't know if this committee wants to hear about the policy committee progress, although the policy committee contains 3 of us already.
That's what I was thinking.
I know. So just to let Suzanne know that we have, we will be presenting a consideration item at the next meeting with a pretty much a complete rewrite of the selection policy. I sort of put together part of our, from the strategic plan, some vision statement, and then a list of criteria from ALA, and everybody really liked it. I think, okay, I won't say, but then the other issue of the reconsideration process, I don't know if this is an appropriate place for me to ask for clarification, but I think probably not. I'll just wait because we're working on that and that's good enough. But anyway, in terms of, I think that I think the new policy will really strengthen if we do get any complaints. And Sujatha was there too. I attended a program on dark money, and oh no, it was all about public schools, but the issue of political groups which seem to have chosen the public school to attack, and specifically using criticism of books and programs, mainly to weaken the idea of the public school as a trusted source of education, to advance the cause of charter schools using tax money for people to send their children to private schools, which would be like tailored to their, my impression, tailored to their political views. So you could have, oh, these are left-wing schools, these are very religious schools, these are right-wing schools, and the public school itself being weakened. So with that point of view, I think that our idea that perhaps the library could come under a similar kind of focus, I think we're right to work on strengthening what we have in terms of protection of what we do. So the next step after the selection, how we do our selection policy, and what that means for trustees is that what is the policy, not the procedures, not what we tick off, but what you know, the basis. And so the next thing to work on is then how is responding to requests for reconsideration or requests for removal or requests for special collections. And so that's where we will be working. So there was some question about why did we want to do this work, and that for me, that's a very solid reason. And I think we're on the right track. So, okay, any other member of the committee want to? I tried to summarize pretty quickly.
That was really a very good summary of how the dark money aspect could impact, you know, this public entity as well. Yeah, for sure. And that was the reason, like that was the whole reason that I wanted to make sure that if it was possible to shore up anything, that we were trying to do that while we could do that, because once it's too late, it's too late. If you haven't thought about it until it's too late,
that's right.
You're caught like a deer in the headlights, and you are not prepared to protect your public institutions against these threats.
Right. And a major role of a board of trustees of a library, as I've always said, is to have the back of employees, but also, you know, the philosophical standard of what we are also is to stand up for that. And so those two are really linked into this. And the issue is that's coming up is how to write that reconsideration for me as a policy rather than as procedures. So that's where we are going to be working.
I have to go, guys,
you're
because
ready.
they're calling me. I'm ready. Okay, I'll be back. Or rather, I won't be back. I will be back. Bye bye.
Okay, bye, Sujatha. Okay, so the other, does anybody else have anything on the policy that they want to, I'm Parker, because you're on that committee. I'm sort of a new board member.
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. So the other thing I have on my list is the issue of advocate recruitment. I asked Bobby, you know, how we were doing, and I noticed that the only trustees who have turned in advocate names are us. So I wondered, like I was thinking, how about if each of us contacts a trustee that we know pretty well and say, hey, how about getting some names for the advocate list? Like I thought, well, I've worked with Gary and stuff. I could ask Gary. It's sort of like, what?
I'll talk to Brian.
Okay, great.
Does it make sense for us to share the current list and say?
Not yet.
You mailed it out this morning.
What?
Right? You mailed out a list this morning.
Yeah, I sent out what Bobby had. I asked Bobby, so I sent that out just so you could see. But I think the issue that we're not going to be sharing their names to keep them private, but to say, hey, how about stepping up? and I could contact Keith.
Fran, if you'd like, since Sujatha had to step out of the meeting, when I send the email around to set your next meeting date, I can also include, you know, Fran is going to contact these two people, Suzanne's going to contact these two people, and then you all can pick up additional people from who's left of the trustees.
That's great. That'll be great. Parker, anybody on your mind?
I'll do Sue as well. She's kind of my neighboring
person
in the county.
And I can reach out to Gary.
Okay.
Trying to think who else there is. Crippa.
Priscilla really can't do it.
Yeah, Priscilla can't do it as much. Crippa, Phil.
Well, Phil, I could reach out to Phil.
Okay. So we've got Fran's going to reach out to Phil and Keith. Susanna's going to reach out to Brian and Sue. Parker, you reach out to Gary. Maybe Sujatha can reach out to Crippa.
We need to leave somebody for her.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're missing someone. Who are we missing?
Liz.
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 I mean, I'm happy to reach out to Liz.
I think Liz will probably have she's really connected.
Okay.
And Liz is also the library board's rep on the Library Foundation, so she might want to incorporate a number of those folks too.
Well, that brings up a question that I had. I sent an email to Miriam asking her about the idea of recruiting foundation boards to members, they're not trustees, but members to be advocates. And I haven't heard back from her. But I don't know when their next meet. They meet once a quarter, right?
Yeah, their exec.
I think they're meeting next week.
Yeah, the exec committee meeting is on Tuesday. Their next full board meeting is, give me just a moment, March 14th. But the exec committee meets on the 21st.
I thought I might also reach out to my library retirees mailing list to the people who still live in the area.
That's great. Yeah. So, Jessica, what would the protocol be of inviting foundation board members to become advocates? Is there any fine line we have to walk? Should I ask if I could go to the meeting and invite them, or?
You can handle it however you want. The foundation is its own separate 501c3.
Okay.
They are not bound or constricted in the same way that you are. If you were going to reach out and try and build that bridge a little bit more, it might be nice if once Liz is part of the development for this, that she be included since she is the FLF rep for the library board. And Liz has been incredibly participatory with the foundation board. She attends all the meetings. She's getting to know the whole process.
Should I, well, should I ask Lisa? Should I go? Oh, because I didn't hear back from Miriam. I used a home email that I had, and the county email that I had did bounce back.
Yeah, Miriam doesn't, because Miriam is no longer on the library board. She doesn't have the county email. If you're not hearing back from her, yes, Lisa, the executive director, is a good starting spot.
Okay. Because I would be back. The board at the, oh yeah, it's on still on my calendar, because I could do the 14th.
Yeah, I don't think they've finalized their agenda for that meeting yet.
Okay, I will do that. Oh, and then, so moving on, the Friends, I contacted the president of the Friends, of the George Friends. I didn't hear from her, so then I asked one of the other friends that I knew, and that apparently the president's husband had surgery and she was still engaged with that. So that was on February 5th. So I think I could send something to her tomorrow. It's been enough time. So that's my progress on those things. So then April 11th to the 13th are the budget hearings, right? So we're gonna need to be.
Jessica, I hope our budget time isn't gonna be the night of the 11th then.
So
we're going to City Hall.
We are, yes. So public budget hearings for the board of supervisors are the 11th, 12th, and 13th. You and I are scheduled to present to the city council on the evening of April 11th. And then the library board has its meeting the evening of April 12th. Gonna be a busy couple nights.
Yeah, usually they do it the first week in April, so.
Yeah, no, this one, I think the first week.
Is that spring break?
It's spring break, yes. So they try and make sure it's more accessible for folks out of town.
So it's one of those 3 days that we'll have representatives speaking to them.
Yes, so the county executive will release the advertised budget next week, Tuesday. Following that, at some point in March, I don't have a date yet, they will open up registration for the public budget hearings. And following his release of the advertised budget, we should start hearing from the different magisterial districts about their local budget town halls. So as soon as we have those dates, I will send those out. Okay. But it is unlikely that we'll be able to register for either the 11th, 12th, or 13th of April until probably sometime into March. And that will be Brian speaking on behalf of the library board and Miriam on behalf of the foundation. And advocates if they want to as well.
Okay. So we may not be making a strong presence this fiscal year.
I mean, it's not that far away.
I know it's soon. It's very soon. And
it is, but 2 months is.
Well, if we can get it earlier in the day, that'll help a lot. I mean, we obviously can't do it that night on the 12th.
So are you all hoping that advocates will be able to come and speak at the public budget hearings in a similar time block as when Brian and Miriam will speak?
I think that would be effective if we could, but if people get sprinkled throughout the hearings, that's good too.
So the only reason that we're able to block off the library board chair and the foundation board chair at the same time is because we register for them on their behalf. So we just do one and then another. So if you do have people who might want to come and speak for the public budget hearing or record their testimony and have it submitted so they don't actually have to drive to the government center, which is a very viable option, then if we knew in advance when we start registering the library board chair and the foundation board chair, we could either let people know that like now is a good time to register because it's just on a first come first serve basis, or we could try and work with the clerk's office to ensure that you all have the time slots that you need. I can't guarantee anything, but that's what we could try and do.
I think encouraging people to go on their own is a good idea. But I think it would also be nice to invite the advocates to come when Brian and Miriam do theirs, so we can kind of stand up and be counted. We talked about that, I think, didn't we, Fran?
Mm-hmm. So we should know, and we can email them about that, but that means we should send the letter out to welcome them, you know, moving back
by the 1st of March.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like with past public budget hearings, the timing is a little bit fluid. So if say Brian is signed up as the 10th speaker on Tuesday, people who are representing themselves get to speak for 3 minutes. People that are representing an organization get 5 minutes, but you can't always tell based on, you just know what number you are. So you estimate 4 minutes. Some people might go long, some people might go short, and some people might not show up. So it's been our experience in the past that we are typically further out than we estimated time-wise. Mm-hmm. So we want to give your advocates a little bit of a heads up that, you know, it's all kind of tenuous, and they might plan to be there a little bit longer than they anticipated, just in case.
Yeah. And the bigger your number is, the more distorted your time will be. Correct. If you're number 200, but you can also look, you know, watch it on TV and see where they are. Most people have time to drive out there.
Correct.
In an estimated time manner.
Well, and also for people who can't go, you know, so that they know in advance when those days of testimony are, and time their call or their email to their supervisor around that time while they're working on the budget would also be good. You know, so if we can have our letter, so does that mean, so getting we've got the talking points ready. We pretty much just about have the welcome letter ready, and perhaps during the next week or before the end of February, that we each get a chance to look at the letter and okay it so that it's ready to go. Does that, you know, because I'm thinking of getting that ready. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Is that doable, Jessica, for you? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So do we want to, okay, letter. So the letter to us by and approved, let's say. By, what would be a good date for that? It's like an action step kind of thing.
By the 27th, maybe, which is a Monday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I already emailed you all the draft welcome letter that you approved today. So it's in your inboxes for review whenever you need it.
Okay, so maybe sooner, maybe by the Thursday
next
week, maybe by the 23rd. Then it's ready to send. Well, maybe I'm. The calendar. Well, then we have all of March, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're in good shape, aren't we? Yeah, because we have all of March. I'm getting ahead of myself, but Okay. So that's one action step. We'll each approve the letter by the 23rd and send it back. Okay. Can't hear you. I think you're muted or something. What? Suzanne, were you talking to someone else?
Came in, but he's gone away.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Myself.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this? Okay. Any other new business? No. Okay. I think we're done then.
Nice work. Yeah.
Parker,
Yes.
can you stay on for just a moment afterwards?